Yeah, so welcome everybody to this session. So I'm Andrea Gibbons, and I'm the network coordinator for Food for Life get-togethers, and I'm joined by my colleague Claire Hadway-Ball, who will be helping on the chat and stuff, and she sort of manages our partnerships. And so I just wanted to give a little bit of information about Food for Life get-togethers in case you have. I think I recognize some folks here, but not everyone always knows us. So basically, I mean, the goal of our program is just to bring people together through how we grow, how we access, cook, and share food. So there's obviously this. I'm very excited about this session because it kind of brings together everything that we do and that we care most about. And it's thinking about how we build well-being and how we build community as we build our connections to land and the food we eat and how we eat it and how we share that together. And so we're looking, so we do multiple different things around supporting communities through our partnership programs, through our leadership development program called My Food Community, which is about to start its second session. So if you're at all interested in sort of developing your own skills around leadership and food, it'd be great if you wanted to have a look at that. And there's more information on our website. So I'm just going to put the website here. And that's going to start in sort of a month or so, the applications for that. And we also, of course, run these network events, and we actually have a ton of them this month in May. But basically, these are trying to sort of give people very practical, informative information on how to sort of do things themselves in their local communities and how to connect to others. And that kind of creates a space also to connect, for people to connect from around the country. And sometimes internationally, which is kind of cool, around these issues, kind of with like-minded people. So there's one more coming up next week, which actually kind of complements this brilliantly, because next week we're sort of taking a very in-depth look at all the kind of what is required to start up a hot food service in a community. So it's looking at the multiple different models, and it's sort of much more focused on how you actually set that up, and there will be a little guide. And we also do some work with like local authorities, with schools and nursing homes. And of course, we're part of the broader Soil Association, which is really looking, so we kind of do the community work, but we also do around regenerative farming, agroecology and forestry. So kind of really looking at a very ground up approach to how we tackle some of the biggest issues, and not just sort of poverty and some of this, like the food crisis that we're facing, but also around climate change. Yeah, so I just invite you to look at and see what else is happening around the Soil Association and Food for Life, and you can see that all on our website. And so as part of all this, I'm really excited to pass it over now to Sam Frad-Powell, who is the Community Support Coordinator from ACE, which is an asset-based community development charity working in Cardiff. So yeah, Sam.
Hi everyone, and thanks very much for the opportunity to talk to you guys about community building and food projects today. Sorry, I'm just bear with me 1 second. I am just going to get my PowerPoint all set up. Can everyone see that? Andrew, is that okay? Can everyone see the screen?
Yeah, and can I just ask, so if people now could just turn off your cameras and your mics, that'd be grand. Just to make sure I feel like internet is always an issue. Thanks.
Okay, super. And just to say, we're not used to hosting an online session. It's really exciting to be part of this. But bear with us if we're not as polished, but we're hoping that this will be really good opportunity to talk about some of the work that we are doing, and also discuss with you guys from your different perspectives about how food projects can be a real catalyst and support for community building, because we found that through our experience is that food is an amazingly powerful tool to bring people together and to support community development works, which we'll obviously which will be talking about some real examples of that. So just to introduce myself again, I work with ACE, Action in Cairo and Ely, as a community support coordinator. So I look after lots of different projects, including the community food work that we do, but we also ACE aren't just working on food. We're working on lots of different projects, and it's one of the powerful things about food projects is how well they kind of integrate and link in with other things. We'll talk about that as well in a bit more detail. But I'm also joined by two of our community food leaders, two lead volunteers for two of the main food projects that we do. Do you want to just quickly say hello?
Hi.
So who you are, sorry.
I'm Natasha and I'm a volunteer for Cafe Barr.
I'm Sarah, I'm a volunteer for the Dusty Forge of the Pantry.
Brilliant, and we'll have a bit of input from you guys about your different projects in just a sec. But we thought it would be useful to kick off to give a bit of an introduction to ACE and our approach, because I think one of the exciting things about food is food projects is how well it supports community development approaches. So we're a charity based in Ely and working in two communities, Ely and Cairo to the west of Cardiff. We follow an asset-based community development approach. So that's really trying to build on what's already there in the community, what are the strengths, what are the resources, what are the kind of passions and interests of people, rather than focusing on what a community doesn't have. Ely and Cairo, if you look at the statistics, and they are the second and third most deprived wards in Cardiff. So there are communities where there's been a history of the kind of narrative of the community being one where it's all kind of bad news. It's things that aren't going right. It's things that aren't happening, or it's issues of poverty. It's issues of underachievement in education, all kind of negative things. And we're really keen as an organisation to kind of to turn that narrative around and say, actually, Ely and Cairo is a place where exciting, innovative things can happen. And obviously, we recognise there are social problems, but that's not our starting point. Our starting point is on the good stuff and building on that. One of the I suppose the ways that we want to do that is through an approach called co-production. I'm sure many of you have heard of it, but that's basically not working for people but with people. So it's about actually developing the leadership skills and potential of the community to be in the driving seat of projects. And again, food is we found is an amazing way to kind of enable that to happen. The other approach is a community organising approach, which is really about not just addressing, I suppose, the kind of the immediate issues of food poverty or access to food, but looking at how we can give people an ability to have a seat on the table of decisions that affect people. So it's about kind of increasing people's awareness of what the issues are, but also engaging with people and decision makers, bringing people together so people can actually have an influence on the decisions that affect them. So just a kind of we've done quite a lot of food work over the last few years now. I appreciate time is short, so I just wanted to give a really kind of quick summary of how our food work has evolved before I hand over to these guys to kind of talk about what they're doing at the moment. So our food work has really kind of evolved from really being a kind of crisis provision focused work. So we're working with Food Bank, helping people to access food who are really who are struggling. That I mean, it is really important work, and it's work that we're still doing now. Obviously, the cost of living crisis is absolutely increasing pressures on people's budgets people are increasingly struggling with cost of food. But one of the things that we found and is that when people are involved with a project, it's very much a kind of requesting help, and they don't feel kind of part of it. It's not providing a kind of opportunity for a kind of sustained engagement. And so one of the things we did 3 years ago, which I think really kind of helped us evolve our work, was set up a Your Local Pantry project, which rather than it being a food bank where people access a small number of times in a crisis situation, it's a membership scheme where people access every week. It's still targeting families that are in or at risk of food poverty, but it's really kind of changed the whole kind of way people are engaging with the project. They're members, they're not recipients of charity, they make a financial contribution, and also that they build relationships. So Sarah's going to talk more about this. I really think that kind of moved our food work along in a really interesting direction. Having that pantry as a kind of project, it really kind of made it changed the way we thought about our food work in a much more kind of holistic and community development focused way. And out of the pantry, other projects have evolved. With volunteers really having pantry volunteers and members really taking a lead in developing new food projects which are linking and developing the work of the pantry. So another which we'll hear about in a moment is Cafe Barr, which really evolved out of a community kitchen project which was set up over lockdown to cook food for community members struggling to access food during that period. And that's really evolved to, I mean, it's an amazing project which we'll hear more about in a moment. From that as well, volunteers have taken a lead on developing cooking sessions with support from Cardiff and Vale dietetics team. There's a community fridge project being set up. There's both one-off events where we're bringing people together with cooking or eating. We've had pizza oven in the garden. People have been involved in a whole range of food activities, but the really kind of important thing I think has been this kind of sustained regular involvement and engagement of people, which has built relationships and kind of really helped us build a community. So I think one of the things that conscious going to need to hand over to these guys in a moment, but I mean, I think we just wanted to kind of ask the question: why food projects are such a great catalyst for this? I mean, I think because what food is a basic need of people, but at the same time, it's also a social glue, and it's almost a common language of people. When people are kind of eating together, psychologically they're often in a different place. Walls almost come down through the act of cooking and eating together in a way which is quite hard to kind of imagine happening without that. So I think from our perspective, it's such a powerful tool that we are really kind of, we're excited to kind of be on this journey. And the exciting thing about being involved in Food for Life and then being involved in other kind of networks is that there's so much kind of energy around the UK and elsewhere, and lots of different exciting things that are happening. We think that our kind of main role as aides is to kind of be that link between what's happening in other parts of the country, bringing ideas like the Pantry, for example, that was set up in north of England, and we've adapted that model here. But take those kind of ideas and that inspiration from elsewhere and resources where we can access them, but kind of combine that with the local energy and the ideas of the community, and kind of trying to make that happen. I think I'll talk a bit more, just kind of sum up. I think it'd be really nice to kind of pass over now to Sarah to have a bit of a so the way we're going to do this, just because obviously it's a new thing to present an online thing. We thought it'd be easier if I asked some questions, and you can kind of just
it's fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So first question then is what is the Pantry and how does it get started?
The Pantry got started before 2019, before we opened it in 2019. But previously, Fairshare came involved, and we were giving out pre-packed bags. And the pre-packed bags, we wasn't socialising or interacting with anybody. So it wasn't like with our pantry, we give time slots, so we get 10-minute time slots, so we get to know the people. So it's nice to interact with other people, and just instead of just handing a bag and say, here, thank you, bag. So that's great. And do you want to say a bit more about what the Pantry is? How does it work? Right. So the Pantry, you've got to be a member only. You pay £5 a week. You leave with about £15 to £20 worth of food. So you get ambient food, which is tins, fresh bread, anything like that. Then you also get fridge and freezer food, and you leave with a free bag of fruit and veg as well. So there's lots of fruit and veg. So yeah.
So they got lots of choice.
They got lots of choice.
So
we try and cater for all different cultures, but it's what we get available. So yeah.
Super. And so, what do you think makes the Pantry special, or maybe different from a regular supermarket?
Right, in the supermarket, you ask the people where this item is, but with us, we get to know the people, we interact with the people, we get to know about their life as well. So within those 10-minute time slots, we get to know about their well-being. So if they need any help from other organisations within ACE, we ask them, we transfer them to those people. So it's nice to stay in within the community. We've also got, we also do raffles. So we get food from the Pantry and we raffle it off every month. We pay 50p a strip, and it's nice because you leave with about £20 worth of stuff. We've also started a Pantry Plus. So our Pantry Plus is cleaning projects. There's shower gels, there's hand creams, light bulbs, and we sell it a lot cheaper than it is in the supermarket for people to come and buy from us, because we try and get more donations in from other sources. We've also started, as you've probably seen pictures of us, within all dressed up. We do events, so our events, we dress up for the events, try and decorate the pantry also. We make little party boxes for children. So the children leave with little party boxes with toys inside, things like that. We charge £1.50. So it's really cheap. So we try and keep everything on a cheap scale, just because we know how people struggle. So yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. So
we've also got, can I say sorry? Sorry, we've also got volunteers who set up cooking organisations through, well, she joined Pantry as a member, and then she's joined as a volunteer. And from that, she's opened up cooking sources through asking Pantry members to join. They go to the Hillfort, I think it's the Hillfort, isn't it? Yeah, the community centre. They develop all different cooking classes, so that's nice to include all that. Plus also in the garden, we've got a garden at the back. They grow food, so we take the food from there and we bring it into the pantry also. So it's nice to involve all different groups. So if you can involve all different groups, it's so much better. Yeah, no, I think that's one of the real strengths of the project. Yeah, it's linking together.
And other things that are coming out of it, isn't it?
Definitely.
That's great. So from your point of view, how do you think the pantry builds the community? How does it make for like stronger community in New Borough? Right,
we like I've said on the previous, we interact with people, we get to know the people. Sorry, we make it fun. I know it sounds silly, but we make it fun. It's like you go to a shopping market, you grab your stuff and you go. With us, we just have a laugh, and how can I put it? It's like we do different events. We've done Christmas events, Halloween events. for the children, but it's not just for Pantry, it's throughout Ely and Cardiff. So we try and get the community involved in that as well. So it's nice to have the community.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's bringing people together, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So how does being part of the Pantry make you feel? Probably today's not the best day.
Today's not the best day, but yeah. Right, I've got it. Right, so it makes me feel right, and I've accomplished something, because I enjoy helping people. Stress sometimes, because even though you're stressed, you don't show it to people, but it is nice to see someone with a smile on their face.
Super.
So yeah.
Yeah, okay. And how do you think the Pantry benefits people involved, like maybe volunteers or community members?
Right, so I'm going to tell you two different stories. So I'm going to tell you myself personal, and I'm going to tell you a volunteer story also. So for me, it's benefited me through my mental health. It gets me out of the house and it gets me to socialise with other people. Also, it gets other people to come in and just relax and not feel like they're bringing their problems to show other people. But I've also got volunteers. I'm not going to say no names, but I've also got a volunteer, and this volunteer comes in and he had low self-esteem, he had no confidence, and since joining the Pantry, it's all come out. He's expanded it all. His confidence is amazing. He interacts with more people. He speaks to more people, and he's also taken it like help with different courses we've been trying. So we're doing courses like food and hygiene level 1 and 2, 3. We're doing mental first aid, manual handling. We're doing quite a lot of diversity and equality. I'm also doing a self-awareness course, which I just started yesterday. So yeah, all these different courses, it helps us bring our knowledge also to the Pantry.
Super, that's amazing. And just quickly, because I need to hand it to Tash in a minute, but any kind of plans for the future you wanted to
open up 24/7? Yeah.
So because we've got a lot of demand, haven't we?
Oh, definitely. We've got a waiting list of people who need food, and we haven't got the food supply for it. So it's not just open up 24/7. I wish. It's looking for donations and other sources to bring more food into the project. It's like we got some people with halal, vegan. It's not easy to get that type of food, so I'd like to bring other sources to bring that food in for them. And also, I'd like to open all different Pantry pluses. So like a baby plus, pet plus, Christmas plus.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Bring it all.
Expand it so it's a range of things, not just food. Amazing. But that's lovely. Thank you so much for that, Sarah. That was really, really good. Can I hand over to Tash now for the same kind of questions, really? But how did Cafe Barr get started?
Cafe Barr got started during the pandemic, where we were cooking for Pantry and then delivering to the socially isolated people. So everybody got meals, and we would cook food from Pantry. That's right. Yeah. We would get the food from Pantry, cook it in the kitchen, prep it, pack it, and then deliver it to social isolated people, and maybe stand on the door, have a conversation with them, 5-10 minutes.
That's great. So kind of it evolved in a kind of unusual time with lockdowns, but it's now it's just running twice a week, isn't it? So at the Dusty Forge Community Centre. Amazing. So what do you think makes Cafe Barr special? How's it different from just with the Starbucks or with?
We're not normal. I don't think we're a normal cafe. Yeah, because we come in, we take the time to get to know our customers. I don't like calling them customers. People come in, we make friends with everybody, and the atmosphere is just like yesterday, for instance, the cafe, it was really busy and it was full, and it was like all of the family members came round and we all had a knees up and had a party. that's just that's what it feels like. That's why it in a normal cafe, you go in, they take your order, that's done, you're over there. It's different here. We all sit down, we all sit and have a conversation. That table over there, I'll have a conversation with this table over here, all for the love of food.
You try and encourage different tables to talk to each other as well, socialise with each other.
Yeah. No, that's a really important thing. I mean, it brings together people that don't know each other. I always say that from my point of view.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have different trainings or different groups you might meet in the centre, and the cafe is a lovely hub where that kind of brings people together. Lovely. So how do you think it builds, so you kind of answered it already maybe a bit, but how do you think it builds community, or what differences do you think you've seen?
Well, it's bringing people back together, because during the pandemic they were socially isolated. People lost how to communicate with each other again. And I don't know about you, I was scared to go back into the community. But this has brought everybody together. Like I said, it's brought people together, friendships, linking people with other people. Oh, for the love of food.
Yeah, and how do you think it's changed, like the Dusty Forge Community Centre and the cafe? Because previous, we obviously had the centre, but we didn't have that. We didn't have the cafe.
Well, previously you had your, like yesterday, you had your a few groups going on, and people would finish that group, walk straight out, not stop and have a conversation. Cafe Bar's changed that now, so people would come out of that group and stop, have a coffee, have a cake, and they'd sit down. There you go, you made new friends there, you made new connections. The place is busier, it's better, it's bringing the community together more.
It's not just that, you do soups for the garden as well, from their stuff which they've got food growing, they'll bring it into the cafe also, and the cafe will cook from the fruit and veg, whatever they give them, the cafe will cook from that food also, and also give it out to the community.
That's a really nice link, exactly. So they're getting the soup, but then they're
so the garden helps all different networks, all of us.
We done jacket potatoes for the garden on Monday, and they provided the side salad. That's all we have to do.
So this is the volunteer group. This is a volunteer group that run the community garden at the back of the centre, isn't it? And obviously, so separate project, but they're a really lovely.
Separate projects, but we're all linking in together.
Okay. That's brilliant. How does being part of the cafe make you feel?
Honest, exhausted at times. It's really
She'd say it's all volunteer run as well.
It's all volunteer run. Yeah, I got a family of my own to go home to at the end of the day. It's exhausting, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm proud of my little baby. I've accomplished. I've grown in myself as well. I can see my own growth, if that makes sense. But yeah, I just love coming to work.
Amazing. That's lovely. Any plans for the future for the cafe?
Plans for the future? Right, we have a dementia cafe we want to get up and running. We have a bereavement cafe we want to get up and running. We want to do a breakfast club for where the kids are passing, because we're on a busy road. We want to make sure they come in, have a full stomach, and then go to school in the mornings, because some families can't even afford to give their children breakfast. I know it's not nice to say, but this is like the breakfast. I want to give out the breakfasts for free. If I could, I'd like give everything away for free. But I can't, because we gotta have a little bit of money rolling back in for us to keep going.
Buy the food and so on.
Yeah.
It's not just the cafe. The cafe also supplies food for events, what we do here. So the children's events, we ask the parents to go into the cafe, and we look after the children. The cafe supplies food for the parents. So it's really cheap, and it's not expensive either.
So Pantry and cafe, we sort of link together with everything.
I think it's all linked together.
I think that's one thing with it being another way of big things, but that is something, again, it's you guys are
it's nice to have different links to help you support you.
That's super. So what I'm going to do, so we're conscious of time, that what we've done is we've put together a list of ingredients of what we think are important for building community through good food. Not absolutely conscious that this is not it's not a list of everything that you could put. It's just really a kind of starter menu, if you like. we're going to have a chance of breakout groups in just a moment to I suppose look at that list, which we kind of brainstormed within ACE, and it will be really lovely to have your feedback as to what you think would work in your community, or what ingredients do you think are important. So I'll just run through these because these are, and feel free to chip in from your side. So yeah, as Sarah said, fun. People coming in, obviously with cost of living crisis, etc. Lots of things going on for people. People are maybe coming in to projects or the centre in not a brilliant kind of place. But we're not just feeding people.
We're giving them, we're making them smile, and that's what's the main thing.
Yeah, and it being about kind of a positive experience, I suppose, is really important to us. So it's not just focusing on the negative. It's about kind of the fun and the joy of life. Volunteers taking a lead. I mean, you've heard from these guys. I mean, it's amazing what you've been doing.
Well, I came for the project to join as a member, and they asked me, do I want to become a volunteer? And I was 3 years ago, and I was left.
And now you leading the project. That's amazing. And I think one of the things that we've really found is, you can do one-off events, and that's great, but having regular engagement, having seen the same people over and over weekly, whether they're regulars in the cafe, whether they are Pantry members, having a membership, I think really kind of, it allows you to build relationships and trust people maybe that you couldn't do otherwise.
If you have a membership, you think you're part of something. Exactly.
I've already mentioned it, but linking food projects together, the cafe and pantry is brilliant. It reduces food waste. It also just creates more energy, doesn't it?
It does.
Sort of bounce off each other.
I think this is important. When staff, volunteers, community members are all treated the same dignity and respect. So it isn't that people are coming to us asking for help and they're getting food. I mean, people are in difficulty sometimes, but that's not what it's about. We're all in this together in a way. We're trying to kind of break down those barriers and not have a kind of hierarchy and all that. It is about everybody has something to give, and everybody needs. And everyone needs support in different ways. So kind of having that ethos is really important. People making connections through love of food. I mean, this just is kind of I think food it's kind of hard to put into words, but it's such a good way of.
Food is one of the main things, so for it to go in all different links, so everyone to help each other, that's amazing.
And you can't build a stronger community without connections, without relationships. So all of that kind of that's really underlined then. You've already mentioned it, opportunities for training and personal development is really key. So there is a chance for people to grow through projects. And positive spaces and places. I mean, that can be its community centre, that can be the garden. So it doesn't have to be, it could be anything. But that's really key. If we didn't have those spaces and a kitchen, I mean, you need. So in terms of kind of resources, there are things that need to be there for projects to work. I mean, and that is one thing that we struggle with, because obviously we don't have enough of
enough space,
whether it's just storage or freezer space or the garden, it could be bigger. There's always
I'd love Pantry to be bigger, but it's the
there's always a lack. There's always kind of a lack of space, and so trying to find ways that we can build on that and adapt. Spaces that aren't being used. We've got a development, for example, a very neglected garden, which is our community garden, Diana Gardens, which has been nothing really happening for many years, and we're looking at developing that into a growing space. So it's bringing those spaces back into use. Conscious we probably overrun a little bit of time, so can I hand back now? Is it to Andrea to?
Yeah. Well, I think Claire's helping as well.
But I think that's the end of our I hope that was okay and you could hear us okay and it was clear. Is that okay?
Yeah, that was grand. Thank you. That was awesome. I'm feeling so these sessions just renew my happiness and connection to the people, and just it's brilliant. I know that Sharanji, you've had your hand up for a very long time. I'm not sure if that was meant or if you've got a question for us while you're gardening.
No, I just wanted to share my ideas as well. We also have a community allotment, and we are in the process of building a community garden where people will share their raised beds and grow their own vegetables. And then we also run our mental health sessions here. We run 3 generation sessions here, and everybody provided a lunch and refreshments as well when they come here. That is to do with through the grants as well, so people can be, I think at the moment we need to consider the mental health issue is the highest issue amongst people due to COVID. And so we need to accommodate them if we provide them a lunch and refreshments. So that's a one more stress less for them. So they just basically walk out from their home free. We will get everything there. And that give them a lot of security, safety, and also something to look forward for, something free as well. And also they will be able to improve their mental health with each other. And then slowly we engage them with the allotment and then grow food together, take free food together. We grow food since last 10 years, and we giving all the food to the community as a donation for free. And I mean, we should have more green spaces, and this is how we share the food and let people cook their own, because you're not taking people's independence away. You don't make them dependent and make them independent. Take your food, you cook yourself as well, and then have a lunch here. Though that gives them a break from cooking all the time, because when you do it, sometimes you're not happy, you don't want to cook. At least you get something somewhere else, different flavor food, and that cheers people up as well. So it's just an idea. I wanted to share.
That was brilliant. I don't know if there's any reactions or yeah, it sounds amazing. Like, and very similar in spirit to like what you guys are doing, isn't it? Yeah. And I think that, yeah, the highlighting the mental health stuff it's just such a huge thing, isn't it? And it's just been so much work showing how much like it's actually getting worse, especially among younger folks. And yes, I think it'd be nice. Yeah, it'd be maybe a nice future session to sort of focus on something like that. And I think, Claire, there was a question in the chat.
Yeah, there's a question from Sally, just asking, I think she missed you talking about where you actually got your food supplies from for the pantry.
Yeah, we didn't really go too much into that. Yeah, but do you want to answer?
Right, so we get food supplies from Fairshare, and we also get donations from the churches and other shops. We try and get donations from. But also, if we get food from Fairshare, we try and make sure some of the meals are cooked. So we can cook. The CAF cooks meals for Pantry, as CAF have said. They cook meals and we give them out, so people have got a decent meal also. So we try and make meals from. So we get ambient tins, fridge and freezer food and fruit and veg from Fairshare.
Yeah.
So
The challenge is that with Fairshare we never know what we're going to get. And we get a lot of the same things. We might get like a lot of chickpeas, is a good example. So the
pea milk.
The pea milk. It's a very random selection. But so where the kind of the cafe really fits in well from a reducing waste point of view is that they can use up maybe some of where we've got too much of something.
Yeah, it's different to try. It's nice to try different things. It's like where I just said we have pea milk, camel milk, potato milk, things I've never even heard of. But we people in Pantry have tried it, so
I think it expands.
It has to be interesting.
But food supply is a challenge because I mean, at the moment, because of cost of living crisis and other things, the popularity of the project, that we've got lots more people who want to join as members than we can probably accommodate at the moment, which isn't, as I was saying, it's not so much a thing open point of view, is it?
I'd love to be open 24/7.
It's a bit of getting enough food to.
So we get food from, if the CAF's got any food left over, we get that food and we can put it in the fridge or the freezer for Pantry members. We get food from Fairshare. We get food from other sources like shopping centres and things like that. We do try and get
some businesses donate, like IKEA.
And we also get food from the gardens. So we're trying to get outside sources, not just Fairshare. So there's enough so we can give out to our Pantry members.
Lovely, thank you. We just have one more question, which relates to the pantry. and it's, can you explain the membership? Is there a cost or an application process?
Right, so with Pantry, there's a membership form. So in our membership form, we ask them details about ourselves. It doesn't go into too much depth, but we just try and make sure if they've got any mental health problems, if they've got any struggling with their money, we can point them in the right direction. How many people are in the family? So if they've got a big family, so say if you've got more than 4 children, they on that shelf, on an ambient shelf, they normally get 5. But if you've got more than 4 children upwards, they get 7 tins. So they leave with about 15 tins, if not more, on the shelves. So yeah.
So people have to apply, and they have to be a member to access the shop week, and they can then access the shop weekly. They get a time slot, so there's a particular time they know they can come. Just basically, it helps us manage the numbers, in and out, because it's not a huge space. But it costs £5 a week, but people only pay that if they actually use it. But the idea is that they will always come away with a lot more than that in terms of the amount for shopping. But we think that the fact people are paying really helps. It helps the project because we get an income from it, so it's obviously good from that point of view, and we can use that to help with food supply. But it also changes the way people think about the project. It's not something; it's something they're entitled to.
When Pantry first started out, they were like, "Oh, it's a food bank. I'm not coming yet." But then people got to know the Pantry and know that we're not a food bank. We have got a shelf with food bank stuff, so they get extra tins. So that's nothing to do with Pantry though. The food bank is separate. So that's their choice if they want to take from there.
I think with food bank, you get what you're given. With Pantry, you choose yourself.
And you come in and you have fun.
Yeah, and that.
And I think it's just that people feeling that they're part of it, they're a member. They don't have, it's not that they're having to kind of, with food bank, every time you get a voucher, you have to say, I'm in difficulty. You're asking for help, or is it not? Pantry isn't like that.
We don't discriminate against anybody. You could be a single person, you could be an elderly person, people with children, nothing. Different diversities of cultures.
There's a lot of people that work in families, but again, I think that it is people probably that are finding life difficult with food costs, but that's a lot of people at the moment. So
definitely. That's lovely. Thanks, guys. I think that probably covers that question. Thank you.
So I think we're
going to move on to the breakout.
Yeah, we have like 10 minutes for breakouts. So I'm just posting in the chat. So I'm posting in the chat the ingredients. And so we think it would just take 10 minutes for people to sort of just get us, introduce yourselves, but also to kind of answer these 2 questions that Sam's left up on the screen, which I'll also post in the chat, just about the ingredients and if there's anything that you would add or and kind of how these might work in your community. I think we're going to do 2 breakout rooms. If you're not going to do the breakout, I know not everyone's sort of up for interaction. Wait, hold on. At this time with these things. So I also just wanted to post now, we've got a short eval form. That'd be great if you could fill out if you are just going to leave the call now. So I've just posted that. But otherwise I'll just break you out into rooms, and if you could, it's just a time to get to know each other a bit better and look at the ingredients. So if you do have ingredients that you would like to add, it'd be awesome if you could also post those. If someone could just be taking a note of those, and we'll come back with a few minutes for a discussion around those before we end the call at noon. I feel like an hour is enough, like, for all of us to manage these in our days, but it's never quite enough to do justice to these topics. So I'll divide you up into breakout rooms now. So if you don't want to be in a breakout room, please do leave now, and that will make it easier for these to, that way we don't end up with anyone sort of on their own. Right. Okay, so you're about to just split up. Okay, and I'm actually going to leave this room because I can't monitor stuff from like in the room. So so if you just want to have a jump into chat. Is there? Oh, let me just stop.